It's about that time, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It is on.
Run it to your friends, come on.
Come on.
Don't miss a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is tight. Sinclair is on the mic.
Once again, it's on. You're still troubled in your home. Got your tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send your letters to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions because we speak that truth. Someone knows you well. Keep it moving, spirit flowing because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling. Wednesday, 8 and 9, and it's on. Once again, it's on. You're listening to the only morning show at night. It is the Sinclair Show coming to you live and direct because tonight, like every other night, we on the air is about you, the valued listener. Some of y'all might be wondering, what is the valued listener to be here without you all? So that's how we're going to get down. We're going to make everything lovely tonight. Hopefully, we got some things to talk about. Some things some of y'all might like, some of y'all might not. Is what it is. But first and foremost, again, want to thank all of y'all who continue to send your mailbag questions, comments, thoughts, negative and positive. It don't matter. We accept all things. Thank you for sending them to Sinclair Talk at Outlook.com. I'm going to continue to talk about them each night. We on the air to reach you. Because once again, people, y'all them valued listeners. Matter of fact, we got some people popping on. Let me see who is popping on. First person on tonight. Ooh, let me tell you what's on tonight. Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchett. She's saying good evening from Huntsville, Alabama, Rocket City. Man, let me tell you something. Was that Alabama that y'all had all that aggression going on? We're going to talk about some aggressive behaviors at the Riverboat. Was that down in Alabama? Nikki Carter, what's going on? Hopefully, we'll have a positive evening. Let me see. Jay Dizzle, what's going on? Glad to see you up here. I see Camille Shepard. What's going on, girl? Glad to see you up here tonight. To see you. We got Pamela Black. Hey, Pamela Black, glad to see you up here tonight as well. There's Lietta Cole. Glad to see you, Lietta. Let me see. Diane Keys, she's got those keys. Man, I'm telling you, we got all the winners up here tonight. Now, that doesn't mean if somebody hasn't arrived yet that they not a winner. But I'm seeing a lot of y'all out there tonight, and that means that y'all are winners because I'm a winner. That means if you hanging out with me, you a winner too. All right? Hold on. You know what? Nikki said it ain't but one thing to talk about tonight. Nikki Carter, what is that one thing you want to talk about tonight? Is it the same thing I want to talk about, or you got some anger issues that you want to get up off your chest tonight? I'm just saying. Hopefully it's what I want to talk about too. Because boy, oh boy, I need to talk to my Anglo-Saxons. We done had a little trouble out there in the South, if you might say so. Matter of fact, before we get started with any of that, let me ask this question. Y'all get y'all steps in this week? How many of y'all have been putting in some steps? Nikki Carter, you and I are on the same page. Nikki Carter says she want to talk about the malice in Montgomery. Yeah, I thought it was Montgomery down in old Alabama. Lady Elegance, I don't know what in the world y'all doing down there in Alabama, but I do tell you this. Seems like my people rose to the occasion finally. But again, before we jump off the deep end of this pool, because I know some of y'all probably been waiting ever since it happened. Y'all been like, man, I'd be glad when the Sinclair Show come on so we can all talk about this. But how many of y'all did some steps? Okay, Nikki Carter said she got her steps in. All right, Nikki, how many steps you get in today? How many you done got in? Today is the 9th. The 9th day of the month. Carter talking about. And see, I ain't even messing with Nikki Carter. She's trying to get me put off soft air. Lady Elegance Princess said, we hype down here. Yeah, y'all can't even go to the store. Some of my Anglo-Saxon comrades look at y'all with the side eye. It's going to be trouble down in Bama. But look, yeah, but let's talk about sometimes people be, even though I be putting up online in the mornings, 5:40 this morning, I was out there on the trail. I don't know if y'all can see that. Y'all see that right there? It says, so far it's the 9th day of the month. I done walked 68,000 steps, 34.33 miles. Yeah, that right there. And today, remember this morning, if y'all was up with me this morning, I told y'all I thought the day was going to be a 5-mile day. What does that say right there? I walked 11,189 steps, 5.70 miles. Matter of fact, if I got up off the airways with y'all right now, I could probably go get that 6 mile in. But I ain't gonna do that to y'all. All right. I see my mama. Hey, mama. What's going on, mama? You know, I had to check with mama, make sure she ain't in no trouble. Mama be down there acting like she from Alabama, acting a little aggressive from time to time. But anyway, we're gonna keep everything on the real, so we ain't got to worry about, no drama. It's gonna be all smiles on the show tonight, unless you from Alabama. The head coach said that's them strong steps. All right, you're absolutely right. That's how we get down with them steps. Anyway, people, look, ain't no need for us to even be hiding around and going through the tomfoolery. We all know what we're going to talk about. And we're going to start it off. The hot topic of the night, which I'm sure will probably consume most of the show, is the malice in Montgomery. Son there acting the absolute fool. And if for some reason you have been hiding up under a rock for the last however long, let me tell you what went down. So apparently there was an incident at the riverfront, at a riverfront in Alabama. And it began now. Alabama, like some other places, have these riverboat. I think they're like casino boats. You could go up there and gamble all your life savings away and feel like you have done something spectacular, if you will. Be a situation where some of my Anglo-Saxon comrades were out with their pontoon boat. For those of you who don't know what a pontoon boat is, it's a boat that you can put your little family members out there. And they had pulled up to the dock area where they were not supposed to be. So let that be the beginning of the problem. They pulled up to a dock where they were unauthorized to park. And the thing that brought some problems, you had one of our brothers who was working, doing his due diligence, I might add. And so initially, this pontoon boat is now preventing the riverboat from coming back in and allowing the people to offload. For those of you who have ever been on a riverboat, which I have, when you go on the little riverboats, you normally are out maybe a couple of hours, maybe 2.5, 3 hours at the most. Then the boat turns around, comes back, lets you get off. The next group gets on and they get to go out and ride and gamble. Well, the boat could not come in and dock because some of our Anglo-Saxon comrades decided that they were going to pull their pontoon boat in for the quick stop. Now, I can imagine they probably meant no harm initially. But like in many cases, when you start adding water with the occasional beverage of alcoholic content and the mindset of an individual who believes they are privileged, we're going to use the phrase privileged. That is a bad combination, especially when on the other side, the authoritative figure on the dock, in this case, happened to be one of our comrades, now, obviously, something occurred. And fortunately, in this day and age, you, my brothers and sisters, always got your cell phones and those to get 100% of the incident, which tells me, first and foremost, whenever we are out, we always prepped up for the food parts of the foolery. Something I'd be wondering. That's neither here nor there. So what the cameras rolling, the cell phones rolling caught was initially the African-American security guard who was actually working there telling the boat owners, who happened to be Caucasian or Anglo-Saxon, if you will, that, hey, excuse me, sir, you can't park your nice boat here. You're unauthorized to park here. This is only for the river boats, because this is where they come in and get people on and let people off. No regular boats or personal watercraft are allowed to be here. He did not appear to be saying it in an aggressive manner initially. He seemed like he was just trying to inform our friendly neighborhood Caucasian with a boat that everything seemed innocent enough. But suddenly, just suddenly, it appeared that our Anglo-Saxon comrades weren't really feeling being told, I stand corrected. Lady Elegance said he was not a security guard. He was the actual co-captain. Well, how did the co-captain get off the boat? It's neither here nor there. So the gentleman in the authoritative position, in this case, the brother, was informing the violators, who in this particular case happened to be our Anglo-Saxon comrades, that you can't park your boat here. You're blocking us from being able to conduct business, and we got to get this big gambling boat in here so we can offload and get our next set of passengers. Unfortunately, we experienced what appears to be, now I cannot say factually, but it appeared to be some level of perceived Anglo-Saxon privilege. Because as the co-captain / brother was making it known that they happened to be in the wrong space, they was beginning to give him, as we say in the hood, a little jaw-jacking was taking place. Meaning they were saying some things to let the co-captain understand, I don't care nothing about what you talking about. We still got a boat here. We ain't gonna be here that long, but hold tight. So the co-captain, Cassandra Key, what's going on, girl? Glad to see the legal beagle out with us tonight. So the co-captain, looking and being somewhat astonished that our friendly Caucasians didn't get the message, he proceeds to what appears to be taking charge to move the vessel, the personal watercraft, the pontoon boat, just to move it out of the way so that they could bring the massive gambling boat on back in. Now, like anything else, when the white people saw that the black co-captain was putting his hands on their vessel, you see in the video screen where they'll come running, flashing into the screen, and they want to have some dialogue. Still, no harm, no foul at this point. And while I could not hear the total audio, it did appear based on the hand movement that there was some disagreements with what was being done. And so at some point, what was initially some simple dialogue, in from the screen pops, we'll call him White Guy X, who charges and does what appears to be a WWF wrestling move like Steve Austin used to do, meaning he ran and thrust himself into him, knocking the brother to the ground or pushing him back, and they get into this wrestling thing. Now, as he pushed him back, and I'm trying to be as accurate as possible, the brother, who was the co-captain, who has on a hat much like mine today, he does an awkward warrior move, if that's what it was. I saw the brother in the midst of being swung on and someone attempting to be somewhat violent with him. He takes his hat off and throws it up in the air. Now, initially, I was of the mindset, and maybe he was trying to distract the aggressive Anglo-Saxon from the altercation. Because no other reason have I ever seen in the middle of an altercation somebody be concentrating on their headgear. What's going on, Chanelli? Glad to see you on the show. So again, I wondered what was going on in the co-captain's mind when he took his hat off and threw it up in the air. Was it to distract him? I don't know. It didn't work. But as he threw the hat up in the air, then they commenced to getting into a physical confrontation, if you will. And at this point, truth be told, it was neither here nor there, because in that very second, it appeared to be between two people. And while the Anglo-Saxon, the white guy, was 1,000% wrong, I don't even think it was his boat. A one-on-one fight in the hood, we say, is a fair fight. Shoot me a fair one, and whoever wins, they win. But then my eyes, I thought they were deceiving me when I began to see what could only be described as a mob. Matter of fact, had they been black, they would have called them a gang, because anytime you got 4 or 5 people who commence to committing a aggressive, violent act, it is normally considered to be a gang. But I began to see 2 and then 3 and then 4, and it was male, and then some females came in, and they jumped on the brother, the co-captain. And somehow, in the midst of all the aggression, he fell to the ground. And when he fell to the ground, all I saw was punches and kicks going, and people were pulling and doing all kinds of things. But as Nikki Carter said, maybe the hat really was the bat signal, if you will, because I began to notice in the screen that there was a brother that came from up on the walkway, like. And this brother came down in the attempt, what appeared to be, to simply remove the mob of white people off of this brother. And as he began to pull everybody back, I saw another brother come down. And it's getting interesting because never in my small span of time, some 50 plus years on this planet, never have I seen black folks willing to enter an altercation that had nothing to do with them to do something honorable like protecting one of our own. I've seen black folks stand around and let us get shot by the police. I've seen black folks stand around and watch white folks act just as crazy from time to time, but never in my 50 plus years have I witnessed the beauty of folks coming together. And so at this point, I begin to see blacks wrestling off white people from this injured guy who's on the ground. At some point, he makes it up to his feet, and there is pushing and shoving and swinging. And next thing I know, the co-captain, he's headed down the walkway because he sees the assailants trying to get away. Okay? Those people who had viciously and vilely attacked him were attempting to get away after committing this crime. Donnie said there was a hootie-hoo going on. And so the co-captain was like, no, you're not going to leave after you've committed this violent act. You're going to stay here until the police come. And as all this is going in, I'm starting to see more of my people coming around, and I'm seeing more. There was some sidebar altercations, if you will. Sidebar meaning it's people who wasn't in the original altercation begin settling the scores, if you will. And it's white on black crime, and I'm thinking to myself, somebody's going to get shot. As soon as the police come, somebody's going to get killed, probably one of us. And as I'm watching and I'm enjoying the video, and I don't know why I was enjoying it. I don't know if it was because we've desensitized ourselves and we enjoy seeing these altercations, or whether it was the human element of me that just enjoyed the fact of my people actually got involved and protected one of their own. And what did I see, people? Something else I've never seen before. I saw a black man jump off a boat into the water, 16 years old. He's watching the man be assaulted. He sees his people under duress. This young man, Aquaman, if you will, jumps off an adjacent boat and literally swims to the dock where he pulls himself up. Now, let me say this to you all. Most of y'all know that I have gone fishing with my dad nearly 1 million times. And me too, I fell off the boat in pursuit of fish and in other instances where I wasn't paying attention. And I can tell you that if you fall into a lake or a body of water and you are fully dressed, it is extremely difficult to pull yourself out the water with those heavily weighted, wet clothes on. But when I tell you this young man swam like Michael Phelps, got over there, pulled himself out the water, shook it off like a St. Bernard, and then commenced to giving out a few two pieces of his own, I was literally astounded. Literally astounded. And I was proud. And I want to apologize to my Anglo-Saxon people who are of no way, form, and fashion violent. And I want to apologize to you all, because for those of you who have lived your lives and spent each moment doing the right thing, and you don't have a racist or negative bone in your body, I want to apologize for myself, because I literally was enjoying what I was watching. And for me, I know it wasn't right. Luckily, I wasn't looking at one of those, what would Jesus do? Literally, I begin to wonder, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus allow that man to be jumped? I think not. He would have probably walked across the water and commenced to making sure that justice was served in the appropriate manner. Nikki Carter said, I wish I could have seen you fall off the boat. I'm certain that you do, because you're a hater. But you don't have to worry about it, because you'll never be part of the fishing team of the Sinclair Show. You'll never find yourself out in the enjoyment of a lake catching fish. And don't worry, I catch fish, because all bears catch fish. But anyway, so as I'm seeing all of this takes place, and yeah, Johnny done brought something up. I'm about to get to that. And I begin to assume incorrectly. Johnny said, what about the chair golf? Absolutely. I assumed, based on the video I was initially watching, that it had ended. But then I began to see other videos where what to my wondering eyes was taking place. Y'all had got out here and lost y'all everlasting minds. It went from just let me help the co-captain get to his feet, let me get a little bit of justice in, till we went out there and tried to get 480 years worth of retribution on that dock. I'm just telling you. April Brown, what's going on? Glad to see you on the show. And I became nervous. Big Rod, what's going on? Nikki Carter. Big Rod said, what's up? I began to become extremely nervous, because what started out as a scene from Boys in the Hood turned into about what could have been every Negro that was on that original boat that was trying to park. Everybody was out there throwing hands. And listen, people, I seen a brother with a chair. This brother got about 1 million memes out there. I'm talking about he started laying the literal smackdown on people with this chair. I'm talking about he was acting like, sometime I didn't know if he was in the wrestling game or if he was playing baseball, and he was so quick with it, he would turn. Man, I saw him. I don't even know if it was beautiful, if it was, I don't know how to categorize, but this dude was putting in work. Okay? And I want y'all to understand something again. I don't want to glorify the actions of the original Anglo-Saxon thugs that started it. Chanel talking about swing low, sweet chair riot coming to carry her home. But white America, I need you to process what I'm saying. Big Rod said, hopefully it was a start of unity for our people as a whole. I would hope so. In white America, again, me being 40+% Anglo-Saxon, I want to say this from that side of me. You can't sit back and get mad because you're shocked about the first time that you witnessed black folks saying, not today. You can't get mad about it. Because think about how this started. It started with one of yours, one white guy who rushed and attempted to throw to the ground a black dude working, a co-captain working. And if it had stayed between the two of them, I wouldn't have cared how it ended. I would have said the white guy was wrong, but if he had got the best of the black guy on a fair one, we would have said the black guy needs to learn how to fight. But let me say this to all of my Anglo-Saxon comrades. Why you out there mad right now saying, how dare they? Don't forget it was a mob of white people that triggered that mob of black people. It was the moment that it became 4, 5, 6 on one, you triggered something in black America. You triggered us to say, now we might be scared of the police, scared of no hillbilly hicks on no boat dock who been drinking too much in the first place, and we sure ain't gonna sit around and let that be the case that y'all around here toasting Bud Lights, reminiscing about how you beat up a black man. That's not happening. Young white man, I think he was an employee, but I'm not sure. He put forth the effort to try to look and understand that this process within itself exposed so many things. Now, let me say this. I also want to think, and I know you don't hear this that often, but I do want to thank the police, because the police who wound up on the dock that day, they attempted to get it right. Why do I say that? Because the police was asking questions. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but chair guy, the one that was knocking everybody out with them chairs, well, he wound up being detained. But did y'all see that black cop that stepped back for a few seconds to let him get one more swing in, let him crack one more skull? I don't know if y'all saw it that way, but I saw it. Go back and look at it. The black cop let him get one more swing in for good measure. I can imagine he probably was saying to himself, bruh, I got to take you in anyway. And whether I take you in for hitting one white person or 5 white people, it's the same take in. So go and get you one more. And again, white America, I'm not gloating. I am not glorifying the foolery. I am simply saying to you all that in America, You may have literally pushed one too many buttons. You may have crossed the line one too many times. Johnny said, we just have to look out for one another as black folk, especially when we see disparities in the events. Absolutely. White America, there is a rule that I believe we are now going to apply. And that rule is we're not going to initiate conflict. We're not animals, we're not savages, but we ain't suckers and simps either. No longer will you be able to take the energy that some of you were born with and some of you got from Donald J. Trump. No longer will we accept those measures as being the status quo. No longer will we allow ourselves or our brothers and sisters to be victimized. I'm just saying. We're not going to do it because it has not served us well. The body tallies have grown over the years from our complacency while watching our brothers and sisters be assaulted and in some cases killed. Esther Shepherd, what's going on? Glad to see you. And so I would suggest that many in the white community today are probably considering how do we handle ourselves in the future, because you no longer are comfortable. And let me say this. There were some white Americans who were part of this melee who jumped in because initially they never thought it was possible. A black person is not going to hit a white person. Never going to do that. Y'all done messed up. Because the worst thing you can do to a people who have been restrained by their own fears of the outcome is let a video like this go viral, where they have seen that if you don't allow yourself or your loved ones to be victims, you have a legal right to intercede into the protection of your fellow man. Now, let me say something to you though. I want to make sure I'm looking in the camera when I say this. I do brothers and sisters who going to jail. They're going to jail because they're supposed to. But two things can be true. Thing number one, everybody who jumped in to protect either the original co-captain or anybody else who was being assaulted, you did the right thing. That is thing number one, that is true. But on the other side of the spectrum, some of those people, based on their actions, did violate the law, and they should be held accountable as well. Let me give you an example, and some of you may disagree. The law is very clear that you can stand your ground or you can protect another from what you believe to be serious bodily harm. You are under no obligation to retreat or run away. But here's the gray area. For everybody that went to the pontoon boat after the captain was up and on his feet and of no threat of being assaulted again, for those who went to that pontoon boat, and whether they say they went there to keep them from leaving or whether they went there to dispatch justice as they saw it, the law doesn't allow you to pull someone from their boat who is attempting to flee. Big Rod said at the very beginning, there was a young white kid / man that was trying to pull people off the dock worker, but the other white people pushed him away. You're absolutely right. We talked about that, Big Rod. I'm glad you brought that back to our attention. So again, Black America, don't start protesting the fact that some black folks got arrested. They were supposed to. It's okay. Start a GoFundMe page. Make sure we help them with the legal bills, whatever. But we must be open-minded to the process that everybody handled the legal process in the right way. Now, I'm still putting up the power to the people symbol. We can still stand in solidarity. We can say they did the right thing because emotionally they did. But they still broke the law. So no need to be getting yourselves in a tizzy. All shall be well that ends well. Listen, y'all tell me what was y'all favorite part if you watched the video. I'm going to tell y'all what was my favorite part. Did y'all see as they begin to toss white people in the river? Nikki Carter said the chairman have a GoFundMe page. Okay, good. He's going to need it. All right. So if y'all know that the chairman, the one that was out there playing Babe Ruth with the Anglo-Saxons' faces and heads, he's got a GoFundMe page. And if you feel so inclined, go out there, find it, and donate. He's going to need some good lawyers. Now, let's not reward him. Don't y'all be out there giving that man $200,000-$300,000. He don't need that much support. But anyway, did y'all see when they was tossing white people in the water, in the river? I was astonished. I was actually waiting to see. I was like, it's no way possible that all these people are fighting out here and nobody's getting tossed in the water. And here, one or two of them. Yeah. They was tossing white people in the water. And I was like, man, they're doing it all. And did y'all see the brother in the striped shirt? I don't even know it was a white guy that tried to push him or thought he was going to jump on this brother. Hold on. Matter of fact, before I even get there, I just want to ask y'all a question. And maybe this is me being petty, but I really would like to know, how is it that so many black people can be fighting and have white hats on? Where did all them white hats come from anyway? But they had hats on and no hats got knocked off. I was astonished. Sometimes I go walking in the morning and my hat fly off. How can these people be in an all-out brawl, an all-out melee, if you will, and their hats don't come off? That is amazing. What kind of snapback hats are those? Chanel said my favorite was the white man that jumped off the boat to avoid getting the beat down that the other guy was currently getting. That was an expressive moment, I might add. Let me see. April said, my favorite was definitely the young man that swam to the dock. Yeah, that seems like awkward. Oh, Lady Elegance Pritchard. I was looking for some videos. I'm gonna go back and look through them and make sure old Lady Elegance was down there in Alabama. But she said she liked when the two sisters was putting them paws on Karen's. You know what? My white female sisters. Let me say this. That people wanted to see you all get your just due because the two white women were part of the 6 or 7 original ones that At least initially. Now, yeah, the video shows people off. And at a certain, you ain't got to take care of this. We got but I do say that I respect and appreciate how the sisters stepped up in this particular case. Now, there is a greater question, and the greater question is this: Black America, do we have it in us for this to become the status quo when there is an injustice and around videotaping, but to make sure that you are not going to seriously injure any of us if you're in the wrong? Do we have that in us? And let me be clear, I am not talking about defending one of us if we go out and initiate some food. Specifically talking about the case where we don't have to guess what happened. We saw from beginning to what looked like the end, which was a black man doing his job, winds up in an altercation. The Negro don't tell me what to do. That's what it appeared to be optically. There was a desire, a burning on the inside of at least that small group of white people to say, you better not challenge us and you better not do X, Y, Z. Single issue about Donald Trump. We can even make it about people whose mindset is racist and bigoted. But we can't continue to make this seem like every evil-minded person in America is a Trump supporter, because that's not the case. Agreement with the foolishness that happened to that brother. As you all have said, act. And so we can't generalize this as being white folks. We have to be specific and say that white people on that dock that day who committed some heinous acts. But we accurate about what goes on and how we categorize things. I know people, y'all ain't got to keep telling me about the signal. It's a spotty signal at best. So we got about 5 or 6 minutes anyway. Just want to let you all know that portion, and it is our responsibility to be able to separate and segregate those negative people from those who are aligned with us in our ideology. And I know, signal is spotty. But anyway, people, that's all we was going to talk about tonight. Anyway, to talk about those things important to you all. It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It is on.
Running if your brain's tight. Sinclair is on the mic.